David Corson, Monday, May 26th, 2025. Oh, it's in the evening. I was up early this morning, got up, and one of my friend's son helped me put in the rest of the irrigation around the gutters around the back of the house. And I had started them on Saturday and got about halfway through. It's 126 feet, I think I had to be dug. With a trencher, could have done it when they were doing all the other ones, but they forgot to do them, and I didn't even catch it. So I just learned something. Make sure all the gutters are dug with the trencher so you don't have to dig them by hand. But it's been raining. The ground was fairly soft. They just put the sod in and the topsoil. So I got about halfway through, and I just decided, you know what? I'll finish this on Monday. I got stuff to do tomorrow at the house. And yesterday I was trimming this bush because it was a punch list item to sell our home. And I was trying to cut this branch. I couldn't reach it, but I could get it from inside. I was on the ladder, went around, came up behind this bush, and I was looking up, and the freaking branch came down and whacked me right where my glasses. They bit me in two places, my nose piece. And I'm lucky I had them on. I could have knocked my eyes out. So listen, if you're doing construction, especially around trees, wear your glasses. In fact, if you're working on big trees, that have big, bush or branches that could come down at you, have a hard hat on. They're called widow makers for a reason. But this branch came down and it got me good. And it just kind of snapped and I wasn't prepared, and boom, it got me really good. And it wasn't that high above me. If it was, it would have hurt a heck of a lot more. But I didn't even realize it, because I went to bed on Sunday night and I was like, oh, it's a little sore. I woke up and I was like, damn. My wife goes, what the hell happened? I'm like, I was cutting this branch and I didn't think any of it, and it fell on me. And, but here, I'm a little bruised up. And so, hey, look, I've been put together so many times. My ACLs, broken fingers, I broke my nose 3 times. I mean, they call me Captain Lego. I keep getting put together. All right. I'm like Humpty Dumpty, but I can get put together. So, but the branch just came out of nowhere. So, that's what I was doing. And then like I said today, I was up at the house all day getting things done. And then I lost power. I was playing my phone, didn't have my charger with me. And, there I was. So, or else I would have taken, I took some video early of it, but I wanted to get the finished product. And I went, and then I was like, oh, I don't need my charger with me and everything. I was like, oh, I'll just go home. And so I took a shower to get cleaned up, and here I am. So I'm just sitting in my studio, giving you my word of the day. And when I was thinking about it this morning, we got up early. We're up there. It was kind of misty and raining, and then it cleared out. And in any event, after I was done, he came up. He'd never seen the house. He's like, "You built this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh my God!" So he was like, "How did you?" I go, well, look, my family's in demolition and construction. They're not in house building, but I can read blueprints and welding, and I can work with a saw, and I can do all that stuff. And I've always been good with my hands, and whatever it might be. I used to do models. I used to be a great model builder. Planes, army tanks. I was in all that stuff, getting the eyeballs and, on these little, soldier figures. And I had a very still hand, very steady hand. But I always liked working and just doing stuff. I build a magazine every day, or every month, but, I'm a builder, but I just like doing stuff for myself. I just do. I like cutting the grass. I just like doing stuff with tools. So, but today I got bit, with the big clippers, and boom, the thing came down and stuff happens. But I was thinking about the house though, and I was looking at it, and this guy was so, we were talking about skilled labor and blue collar and, everything. And he was just so intrigued by it. And so, here's what I'm thinking about. Here's my word of the day for Memorial Day. And thank you for everybody that sacrificed out there. If you have loved ones that were, in the military, and, and they were, they did their part, they sacrificed, man, my heart's with you, and my grandfather was a lieutenant colonel underneath Patton in World War II, and he's passed. And I just know all the stories that he told me, of all the great things he did. He was a combat engineer. He built all the bridges back during World War II and afterwards. And then in his steel scrap business, he recycled a lot of the tanks and the Jeeps. We have some killer Super 8mm video that we've got transferred onto a CD. And it's just amazing to see what kind of person that was. So to all the families out there that had people that went out and swore a oath to the Constitution, for our freedom and our prosperity and life. Listen, I'm glad they were on our team. That's all I got to say. And I'll never forget. It's one of my favorite holidays, and you've heard me say that in the past. So, but I was working today. I wanted to watch a lacrosse game when I came home, and it took longer than I thought, and then the power or whatever, and it looks like Cornell won, and hey, that's the way it goes. But here I am. I'm in my studio, and I wanted to give you my word of the day. And when I was talking to this kid, he's going to be a junior. He's a swimmer. He does the backstroke, and his dad was a swimmer at LSU, so the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. It was good to have a beast out there, help me dig. And he was just like, he thought it was the coolest thing ever. We put some pipe in and connected in. We had this little pop-up mechanism when the water flushes out, and he was just, wow, this is so cool. And I said, yeah, construction is a cool thing. So my word of the day, here's my thought. I'm thinking my word of the day is Genesis. Now, some of you are going to go, oh, that's a book in the Bible. Or it's a rock band. Well, first of all, the rock band was great. Saw them plenty of times. One of my favorite bands of all times. Yes, it's in the Bible. It's in the beginning. God created, everything. And to me, it means you're starting your journey. You're starting your building. You're right at the planning stage, of a major construction project. What's the genesis of your thought pattern? And if you can, if you have Genesis in your verbiage, and you can apply it to business, athletics, life, sleep, whatever you're doing in a 24-hour period, you are going to be so far ahead of so many people, because it's the beginning of your plan. It's the vision. It's your thought process. And then you have to take action. Once again, it's a connector word. It makes people take actions, and then people take actions, they execute, they win, big and small. You're going to get some L's, and L's not losing. L's means learning. You either win or you learn. You never lose. Okay? And Genesis can be applied to any of those things that you're doing in a 24-hour period. And if you can master the word Genesis, whether it's a noun, a verb, whichever way you want to use it editorially, I don't care. But if you master that, oh my God, you're going to see such a change in the way of your thought process, your mindset, the way you get things done, and the way you can explain in the least amount of words what you're trying to get across. It helps you in so many different ways. Like talk about athletics, all right? I know listen, it's lacrosse time right now. So like when I launched my club team up here in Southern Hall, they never had a team, and I went in with my plan. I had my thought process. I had an assistant coach. I had some players. I had to talk to the athletic director and get permission to use the field and get some feelers out, maybe some of the football guys or basketball guys coming out that wanted to try lacrosse out. And we launched the team, and we put a tournament together. We had about 6 teams in that league for the summer, and made it affordable for everybody. And but when I think back, just like this house, just like when I created that Southern Hall Panther team, I had that plan, I had that vision, I had that drive, I had that, I'm going to get this done. We're going to have a fun time, and we're going to figure out a lot of things. So Genesis and athletics, and it doesn't matter if you're a coach, a player, a trainer, an athletic director, whatever. If you, are starting something new and you want it to succeed, you can do your research, how other schools do it, but you yourself, man, you got to be 150%, committed, to getting, start what finish what you start, but you got to get started. And to get started, you have to have a plan, a vision. You have to have a thought process. You got to buy into yourself, and then you got to convince others to come along with you. And from there, you're going to win, you're going to learn, and you're going to do things. And that's what's so important in athletics, because one year you're going to be great, and the next year you might have some players that retire, you couldn't fill their shoes, and you might have to go through a rebuilding year. You're going to learn a lot, but you're going to come back. But once again, when you come back, you got to have that genesis, that thought process of, hey, we need to improve here, and we need a couple players here. How are we going to get that done? And it's not what you don't have, it's what you do with what you have, but you always want to improve, and you want to get new things to help you improve. So being a Genesis master in athletics, very, very important. Business. What Genesis? I've launched multiple magazines in my publishing career. All right. And I know that right now I'm working on a project right now. I just wrote an email uh, uh, when I got back to a couple of my partners saying, hey, the first impressions are everything. And we want to make sure that we get this, and this done before we launch this website. And but if I didn't have that Genesis thought process, I probably wouldn't have been thinking about it. But I was just, while I was digging, your mind's racing, you're thinking about everything else you got to done, and it just kind of popped in my head this idea about, hey, you need to talk to those guys about this. So I wrote myself a little note, and when I had power on my phone, and I sent these guys a note, and we're going to talk about my thought, because they were, hey, that was really that's a good idea, man. We should discuss that. And listen, when you have a couple of partners, sometimes there's too many chefs in the kitchen. You want to keep things simple, but Genesis, once again, in business, okay? Why, when, where, why, whatever you're thinking about. The bottom line is, once again, if you're starting out, it's a new division, or maybe you're going in a startup and you've got seed money and all this stuff, your Genesis, your thought process of how you're going to go about things is going to determine whether you succeed or fail. That's reality. And you're going to have wins, you're going to have learns, and hopefully you'll make it. Not everybody does. The statistics are not in your favor. 9 out of 10 new businesses don't make it, or they don't last, a couple years. And there's only so many companies that have 10-year, 20-year, and then, that graph just goes down. There's only so many companies that have multiple anniversaries as time goes on. Like, I've been around for 25 years, so my 20-year anniversary was pretty special to me. Hey, my 10-year, my 5-year, so, and I'm still standing today, in my publishing gig. But I have this other thing that I'm doing, and the Genesis, that thought process kind of popped in my head. And I feel much better, that we're going to have this meeting, and because we've worked too hard not to succeed. So Genesis in business, strategic, master it. Relationships. Hey, every time you're talking to someone, you have Genesis all day. All right. Whether you go into the store, you're pumping gas, and maybe say something to the person next to you pumping gas, or you're in the doctor's office, or you're in a store, or you're in a restaurant, you're talking to the waiter, or you're talking to a new client on Zoom or an email, or you're texting, or you're FaceTiming. I mean, there's so many people you talk to every day in so many different mediums. But the bottom line is, every one of those basically, when it happens, hey, it's all new. It's a Genesis. And how your conversation is gonna go is all determined by you. All right. Even though you have to listen, and do all those things. The bottom line is, you've gotta, have that starting point. And then in that journey, in the end, and then you can look back and you can assess what you need to work on, what you did great, what you didn't really need to, but because everything's gonna, you gotta have the right Genesis on everything. But still, it's really that building, it's the start that is so important. It's like coming out of the track blocks. You just want to be, some guys that win the 100 meters, the fastest man on the earth. Sometimes they're not the first guy out, but they know that they're in there to win. They play to win, and eventually they go across the line first. But they're close. They're right there. It's not like they're very far behind. So that's probably my analogy that best fits it. You're all in that, and everybody's got it. But hey, you had the Genesis of, hey, I know I can take it. I know I'm not the fastest guy, but at least I know it. But I know I can take him at the end because I have a good kick, and I've got I can kick it in gear. So, but like I said, relationships, man. You don't know who you're going to talk to, and you just want to leave an impression on those people that, whether it's a minute conversation or 2 hours on Zoom or whatever, that those people, they believe in you. They're like, wow. And Genesis, man, it's something that people can feel. They can see it. They can hear it in your voice, all of those things. And then sleep, your Genesis. God, every day you start a new journey, man. And so you want to get that 6 to 8 hours. I want 6 to 6.5 every night. So that's my Genesis, and I'm training my body now. I get 6 to 6.5, and I sleep solid. All right. And if you sleep solid and you get good rest and you treat your body right, it'll do things for as long as you're breathing the rest of your life, and you'll have a better day the following day because it just needs it. So, and if there's anything I forgot about in Genesis, hey, work on it. So it's from the heart. Take it to the bank. Put up your knowledge vault. Use it for whenever you need it. Okay. Even if you're having a positive day, hey, think about Genesis. If you're not having a great day, or you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, or whatever, you didn't put your game face on. Genesis. It's such a cool word when you can think about it, all right? And if you do that every day, every week, every month, for the remainder of the year, all the way to December 31st, you'll have about 7 months of data on yourself. And you can go back and look at any of those days on your Genesis and what factored in and how things happened and where you ended up. And you can see if you needed more or less or you were right on target. I'm telling you. And if you have that data and you can look back, and if you don't work about Genesis, I gave you plenty of other words. Just improve on something every day. And if you do it for the remainder of the year, you will see a change in yourself. You'll be able to look yourself in the mirror. Wow. Yeah, I can see it. Your friends will, your coworkers, your teammates, your spouse, your husband, your wife, your kids, your pets, they'll all see a change. Okay? But you got to be consistent. You got to do it every day. Okay? Do it right here on your phone. Easiest place because it's connected to you. So I appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your Memorial Day evening and have a great week ahead. Take action. Be safe. Genesis.